When a relationship ends, it can feel like your whole world is crashing down around you. In this video, I'm going to talk about what actually helps when you are healing after heartbreak. I'm Dr. Liz White, a consultant clinical psychologist, and I've been helping people with the ups and the downs of life for over 20 years. Hit subscribe if you want tips for your mental health and well-being. Breakups can feel like the loss of an emotional home, something familiar, safe, and meaningful. And when that space is gone, it can leave you feeling disorientated and overwhelmed. Research shows that relationship breakups can have a significant impact on your mental health and can cause significant distress. So if you're not functioning in the way that you normally do, if you're crying more, if you can't sleep, you're feeling really anxious, it's not just in your head. Your body and your mind are reacting to a loss. So when humans experience loss, or when we no longer have that person in our lives that we were attached to emotionally, it is normal to experience a grief reaction. You've lost someone who was part of your life, part of your day-to-day, and maybe you saw them as a solid part of your future and you've lost that too. Now, this experience of loss can show up in many different ways. So you may be experiencing shock or disbelief. I can't believe we're no longer together. It just doesn't feel real. Another common experience is denial, where we can just stick our head in the sand and just not believe that it's true. So you may be thinking things like, oh, we'll get back together, or never say never, and therefore not really getting to grips with the reality that this relationship has ended. Anger can also be part of heartbreak, especially if the other person has ended it. But even when it's been a mutual decision or you're the one that's ended it, there can still be anger around. Why did I stay so long? Why did I waste my time? And of course, there's also that experience of deep sadness. And this can come along with really just wanting to withdraw from the world. So other common experiences when you have lost a relationship or when you've broken up with someone is that your appetite can be affected. You may experience sleep difficulties. You may also experience anxiety. So that separation from your partner can create a feeling of anxiety. Perhaps there's anxiety about being alone, or maybe anxiety about the future. One thing that I hear a lot from people who are heartbroken is, will I ever find another person? Have I just thrown away a relationship that was really good and I'm never going to have that again? So these emotional ups and downs can feel chaotic and really overwhelming. So what can actually help you heal from heartbreak? Here are my tips. First up, learn to self-soothe effectively. So there's this idea, isn't there, that the only way out of something is through it. And as uncomfortable as that is with heartbreak, it is true here. One of the things that it's really important to try and do is to let yourself feel all of those different emotions. You don't have to fix them right away. You don't have to judge them. You don't have to want them there. Just allow them to come and go, which I know is really hard. But this is where self-soothing comes in. Not to avoid your feelings, but to help support yourself with those feelings. And self-soothing doesn't have to be complicated. It can be really simple. You need to find the things that help you feel calm and soothed. So that could be playing your favorite music, getting under a weighted blanket, going for a walk, being in nature, cooking yourself your favorite meal. Try and activate your senses, so your sense of smell, taste, touch, sight, etc. What we're trying to do here is to find the things that help calm your nervous system. My second tip is get support. When you're heartbroken, it's really easy to isolate. You just want to hide under your duvet and never come out. But leaning on your people, your friends, your family, whoever is around that you can feel supported by is so key. And it's one of the most powerful things that you can do when you've been through a breakup. Because let's face it, one of the things that you might feel really acutely is loneliness. Suddenly, that person that you spent a lot of your time with is no longer there. And that is going to feel very lonely. So connecting with loved ones, connecting with family and friends, at the very least will remind you that although you feel lonely, you're not alone. That there are people around you who love you, care for you, and want to support you. Now, if you really don't feel like you have anyone like that around you, then seek out professional mental health support, because that is another really good way of enabling yourself a space to be able to talk through what's going on for you, your thoughts and your feelings, and start to heal from this heartbreak. My third tip is stop the self-blame. So something that I see a lot of people doing after a relationship has broken down is blaming themselves. And this tends to happen especially if you're quite self-critical. If only I had been different. If only I hadn't said this or done that. But breakups, like relationships, take two people. You were not the only one in that relationship. Of course, there are always things to learn and reflect on. And we are human, we make mistakes, but blaming yourself for everything that went wrong is not going to help you move forward. So if you catch yourself going down the self-blame rabbit hole, just try a small physical gesture, and we call this soothing touch. So it might be a hand on your heart or stroking the back of your hand or giving yourself a hug. It sounds really small, but it indicates to your body and your brain that you are supporting yourself. And that really matters. And once you have stopped self-blaming, you're much more able to actually reflect in an effective way on the things that you did or didn't do that you might do differently next time. My fourth tip is to do things for you. So one of the things that can happen when you're experiencing a breakup is rumination. Your mind just goes over and over and over the relationship, what went wrong, the mistakes that were made, what they did, what you did. And that can be relentless and exhausting, but it is normal. It's your brain, trying to process what's happened. Now, usually over time, as you start to adjust not having this person in your life, the rumination does reduce. But an important part of that adjustment process is you getting back to doing the things that you enjoy. So try and identify activities, things that you can do that you know will either help you feel calm and soothed, or will give you a little boost, or just gives you something to do that you think you might enjoy. Whether that's trying out the new yoga studio that's opened up down the road, or seeing a friend, or playing the piano, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But take some time to really think about the things, the activities that you could put your time into. My next tip is try and avoid unhealthy coping strategies. So I think you can probably guess what I'm talking about here. Using alcohol or food or any other substances to help you numb your emotions and your feelings is not going to help you over the long run. But instead of doing those things, try and think about what are the healthier coping strategies that I could use to help me through this. And again, it can be really simple things like just maintaining good self-care, getting outside, moving your body, nourishing your body with good nutrition. And one really important coping strategy is self-compassion. So ask yourself, what do I need to help support myself during this really difficult time? And part of being self-compassionate is also trying to find some patience with yourself, accepting that this is going to take time. Now, I do have a video that talks through the kind of basics around good mental health. So go and check that out, because I think that will also help you. So my last tip is try and go no contact with your ex if possible. So one thing that I get asked quite a lot is, should I be in contact with my ex once I've broken up with them? Now, this is a tricky question to answer because it really depends on your individual circumstances. So if you had children with the person, if you share property with the person, obviously going completely no contact is not going to be feasible or practical. But if that isn't your situation, usually going no contact, at least for a while or temporarily just gives you that space to emotionally recalibrate. What do I mean by that? One of the tasks that you need to do once you've broken up with someone is emotionally detach. And that is almost impossible to do if you're in constant contact with the person, or if you're leaning on them for support with the breakup, which again is another common thing. You know, the difficult reality is that you need to get used to not having this person in your life, and not being in contact is going to make that a bit easier for you. The problem is nowadays we have social media, don't we? And so what can often happen is that you might not be in direct contact, but you may end up orbiting your ex on social media. Now, what this means is that you still follow them, you still look at their stories, you still see who they're following and the posts that they're liking. You're still observing what they do online. So what I want you to do with this is to just reflect on whether that's helping you. So for some people, it may be bringing you a bit of comfort to see your ex on social media. For other people, it might be having the opposite effect, because actually what you're seeing is your ex is moving on, and that's really difficult. So if it's making you feel low, if it's bringing on anxiety, then it makes sense to unfollow or block or do whatever you need to do to reduce that orbiting behavior and essentially to reduce the contact. Breakups are really hard and they really do take an emotional toll. I hope this video has given you just some ideas on how you can support yourself through the next few weeks and months. The one thing that I do know after a breakup is that you don't feel like that forever. How you feel does change. And it really is about finding the things, finding the people in your life that can help you through it. If you found this video helpful, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you want more mental health tips like this, then hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.